Welcome back to the Talk Tonight as the discussion about what to do with the elevated stretch of I-81 that runs through Syracuse continues. Dozens took advantage of the opportunity today to voice their questions and concerns to the woman who will ultimately make the final call. She'll be part of the team making the decision. New York State DOT Commissioner Joe McDonald was in town today talking to lawmakers, talking to concerned citizens. She was there to get some questions answered. She called it the I-81 opportunity in one of her introductory statements, which I thought was really quite interesting. An opportunity is sort of how she envisions it for the city.
Yeah, and the other thing that I was struck by was that she was very clear and said it a number of times. We are going to do this in a way that it was not done
back in the 60s.
Back in the 60s. Yeah. We are going to hear people out on this. I mean, this was a steamroller of a job back in the 60s when it was decided to put up that elevated stretch of highway, when it was decided that the neighborhoods around that would have to be basically excavated and the people would have to go to other parts of the city. So I commend her for that. I commend her for being an Albany bureaucrat. She's in the Cuomo administration, but I commend her for having some local sensibility here on this.
Yeah, perspective.
That perspective, to know that there are a lot of folks in Syracuse who want to be heard on this and had already started to feel like things were going in a certain direction that they weren't comfortable with. I thought she did a good job today of sort of zeroing it out and saying, we're moving on from here. What you've heard until now, maybe that all isn't true, or maybe we're not going to move in that direction.
And she made a point today to say, you know, listen, we have asked for community input. We've had more than 200 meetings. More than 3,000 people have had a chance to speak out about this. But let's look at today as day one. Moving forward, we're going to continue this conversation, and we need more input. You would almost think, by all the conversations that we've had recently, that they would be close to making a decision, that perhaps maybe the construction might begin soon. But we are really quite far away from that. And this conversation really is going to continue over the next several months so that we can zero in on what the options are, and then many years to come, then that construction will begin.
Yeah, I suppose we will reach a tipping point over the next probably 2 years is when, you know, there will have to be a decision made, 2 to 3 years, and then of course the construction is going to take quite some time. I mean, they're billing this as the largest transportation project in all of upstate New York over the course of the next decade.
Well, sure, because
that's gigantic.
Just the study alone is going to be costing $32 million. They tabled a vote on that today in terms of approving the funds for that study.
A drop in the bucket compared to what it's going to cost no matter what they decide to do. I mean, I've heard $500 million to rebuild the bridge as it is. Hopefully, if they go that option, it's going to look a little nicer than it looks right now.
And the boulevard, they're saying, could be around $900 million. Yeah. Some of the other ideas, the tunnel underneath, or some of these other ones,
they can't do that.
They said in the billions, and so some of those ideas sort of, it seems at least, are off the table. However, McDonald said today, no decisions have been made at this point. I think that there's a sense from the community that we're down to these two options, the replacement bridge or the boulevard, but she really took great pains today to say, you know, listen, there are other options on the table.
Yeah, there are other options on the table, but cost, she was also very clear, is going to be the biggest factor in what happens. Now, that's not to say that just because it's cheaper to do just another bridge that they're going to go that way and not the urban boulevard, but it'd be, I don't know. I mean, it would take somebody who knows a lot about urban planning and who knows a whole lot more about transportation than I do to come up with some other thing that's not currently on the table right now when it comes to those two options. It was nice to hear her say everything's on the table, but I'm just not convinced that everything really is.
So the conversation will continue. We're going to need a lot of federal dollars for this project as well. So that is really part and parcel to this continued dialogue that we're having. Michael, thanks so much. As always, thank you for participating in the Talk Tonight. Remember, you're always invited to join in the conversation. Just leave your comments on our Facebook page or our website. We'd love to hear from you.